Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA Thursday Night Cup Series. We sure are happy to be here this lovely Thursday evening, and we have some racing here in front of us here. 250 miles at the track too tough to tame. The Lady in Black, she goes by many names, but Darlington Raceway. And I tell you what, this is one of the most challenging tracks on the NASCAR circuit, and of course on the ISCA circuit as well. It's going to be a lot of wall touching for sure, especially off of turn two, but of course, we have actually increased our lap counter here. It's going to be 183 laps tonight. Speaking of which, we'll go ahead and throw the race facts up right quick. 183 laps, stages 40 and 95, 5 tire sets. Of course, those tires are going to be like gold here at Darlington. Fuel window is 75 laps. Of course, I am Brian Britt, and I'm joined in the booth by none other than Big Al. How are you doing?
Hey, doing pretty good here, Brian. Excited to be back with the ISCA guys. Racing a little bit different setup here tonight as we're going 100% fuel. That's going to make it a lot easier for calculations. But other than that, man, excited to get it going.
100%. I mean, this is going to be an interesting one. With that 100% fuel, that means that these guys could, all that time they spend in A Opens and in an official competition really will help them get, acclimated a lot quicker than they usually do in these ISCA races. Because a lot of times they have an hour of practice, and most of that time is spent adjusting the car to the 75% fuel tank. That we talk about that nonstop, Big Al, how that affects the changes in the handling. Well, now that's no longer going to be the case. So these guys are going to be able to really run their unfiltered setup that they've been running all week.
Yeah, and I think that's going to dramatically change the playing field because now drivers have a direct one-to-one comparison. They'll know exactly what their setup is going to feel like here tonight versus what it would have been, say, versus an A Open race. And that really does level the playing field a lot, Brian, because there's not a lot of calculations. And for drivers who aren't familiar with building their own setups, this really does give them a lot more comfortable footing, if you will.
Yeah, 100%. Well, while these guys are out there qualifying, what say we take a look at the point standings coming into this night's race? Pulling those up right now. Don Avery in the points lead, but not by much. He has only one win, of course, 4 top fives, 230 points, while Josh Schaffner sits in second place in the points with 2 wins, the most out of everybody here in this Thursday series. Of course, he has 221 points. Matt DeCiani sits in third place with 3 top fives, 215 points. Fourth place, Derek Heitman, he's got a win. Fifth place, Kenny Powell has had some really good finishes here. Sixth place, Greg Wachinski, he has a win, and he is here tonight. I think he missed last week's race, if I'm recalling correctly. Seventh place, Al Kozlowski. Eighth place, Darren Mullins. Ninth, Wes Dobbs. And 10th, Randy Mullins. So a lot of really close points out here that could change quite a bit here at Darlington. And I think the name of the game here is going to be survival. We're going to see some guys that are not going to make it to the end of this race, Big Al.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Brian. That's 100%. But that is the name of the game. You're gonna have to be able to figure out how to manage just that one thing if you want to be talked about or talked to at the end of this thing.
And that one thing you're going to have to manage, of course, is hitting your marks and managing your tire wear, because this is a place where it eats them for breakfast. I mean, you fall all over 2 seconds, and also we talk about the difficulty of this racetrack. Literally every factor of this racetrack is difficult, Big Al. I mean, even pit road. I mean, if this place was rated on a scale out of 1 to 5 on difficulty level, it'd be a solid 5 stars, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And you should know better than anybody as this track is in your neck of the woods. But this is a driver's track. So if you're not a dude that's really dialed in and tuned up, it's probably not going to be a place that you're going to do very well. But if you are a guy that's paying attention and you're like, I'm telling you, the amount of attention that you got to be, the attention to detail, this is just that kind of a track. You just can't really take your eyes off that prize, if you will.
Yeah, you can't take your eyes off of anything here at this racetrack. Otherwise, a wall will be waiting for you at the end of it as we watch Mark Sanchez, of course, concluding his qualifying effort. Just a little over 40 seconds to go here left in qualifying. I think now's the perfect time, if any, to go ahead and take that step away, play our national anthem, and be right back with our grid.
Oh, say can You see, by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn, the acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgot.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Speed training. It's how Advanced Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster. Not bad. The parts you need, even faster. Advanced Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have the grid set for this evening's action. Derek Heitman going to be starting on the pole with a 28.948. That is a blazing fast lap here at Darlington, of course. Randy Mullins going to be starting on the outside pole. Very fast lap from him as well. Third place going to be Jeffrey Souza, with fourth place being Brian Johnson. Glad to see him back. Fifth place, Matt DeCiani. Don Avery, of course, going to be starting in sixth. Seventh place, Darren Mullins, with eighth place being Josh Schaffner. Ninth place, Mark Sanchez. And rounding out our top 10 is Greg Carr.
And that's going to put Kenny Powell in 11th, with Al Koslowski in 12th, Greg Wachinski in 13th, Chris D. Johnson in 14th, Matthew McMeekin, in 15th, Ryan Strunk 16th, Wes Dobbs 17th, Derek Jacobson 18th, and Andrew Layton's going to round out this 19-car field. Full house here tonight, Brian, as we get ready to kick it off right here in mid-stride in the middle of this season here. Looks like that track temp is going to be ambient air temp, 76 degrees. Track temp is going to be 83 degrees. Winds out of the west at 4 miles an hour. That's going to be the perfect conditions to get us going here. Green flag should be coming pretty soon.
Yeah, pretty much a very clear day out there in Darlington, South Carolina. You mentioned it. This one's right in my backyard. I literally live 15 minutes away from this track. I've been to almost every race they've had in the last 10 years. And I'll tell you what, some of the most historic finishes have happened at this place, and some of the closest as well, which is what's kind of crazy about this track, Big Al. I mean, side-by-side does not happen very often, but I'll tell you, when it does, it is exciting.
Well, I'm just going to have to let this track go down as something that I don't understand, nor, I mean, I've never tamed it. Pace car off in a way, getting ready to take it green flag racing.
100%. And there we go. Green flag going to be out in the air as Derek Heitman gets the call to go. Now he's going to go up through these gears. This is a track that's really, it's really easy to also spin the tires on these restarts. You don't want to go into turn 1 and 2 side by side. You see, it's almost like a game of chicken to get into turn 1. You see that Matt DeCiani and Don Avery, though, are not afraid to go side by side.
Yeah, Al Kozlowski also diving way down on the inside, taking a little bit of a peculiar line, should I say.
And it looks like they have single filed out, though, for that fifth place position. Matt DeCiani slides in front of Avery. Avery still trying to battle back.
Avery actually said that he was going to be pretty fast here this week, so it's going to be interesting to see just how patient he is as he tries to make his way through the field. Josh Schaffner right behind the 64 Darren Mullins.
Yeah, a lot of these guys further back in the pack. Of course, Josh Schaffner is the winningest driver this season so far, so he's got a lot of work to do to get up there. We know he's good at saving tires, and this is the track that you have to be good at saving tires for. Of course, Heitman, because he has the track position, this is going to be a big thing. Track position is so important here at Darlington. It is so hard to pass, and you have to be methodical and almost think 2 moves ahead in order to make a pass here.
Yeah, exactly, because it takes so long to set up a pass at a track like this, Brian, like you said, but also noting that Kenny Powell is sporting a completely different paint scheme as well here tonight.
That he is. I actually talked to him a little bit about that, and he said, it's Darlington. You know, it's time to throw back. So he decided to pull that paint scheme out of the garage or the closet and put it on. So glad to see him with a little bit of a different look here tonight as Derek Heitman starting to pull away now, a little over 3/10 on Randy Mullins. Here comes Brian Johnson trying to get to the inside of Matt DeCiani. Now, keep in mind, last time we saw Brian Johnson at Darlington Raceway, he had a race win. Get away from him.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, it's good to have both Johnson brothers back in the field here tonight. Something that we haven't had in quite a while here, Brian.
100%. Those guys are definitely always capable of winning. Both of those guys have a couple wins, I know, in the ISCA series. So anytime they step onto the track, you better watch out for them because they will get it done. But I'll tell you what, Jeffrey Sousa's looking pretty good tonight, but he's starting to back up a little bit to Brian Johnson. Now, that could be on purpose. A lot of these guys are trying to take it as easy as they possibly can. Now, stage 1 is 40 laps. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot at Darlington as we see Kenny Powell making the pass, I do believe, on Mark Sanchez, putting himself up into that 9th place position, and he's going to get real close to that wall. Now, that's one thing about Darlington. You're going to see a whole lot tonight. Guys are going to be inches from that wall, and you'll reach out. It'll reach out and grab you, that's for sure.
That's the reason why they call it that infamous Darlington stripe. But I think I misspoke as Chris D. Johnson is actually not in the field here this evening as Brian gets really close to Jeffrey Sousa.
We also see Randy Mullins is starting to close in a little bit on Derek Heitman. Now, one thing I didn't mention earlier about this track is it is very downforce sensitive, or aero sensitive, I should say. You know, when you're following right behind somebody, you're going to get real tight, but when you're in the clean air by yourself, that's when the car gets really loose.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be something we're going to be watching for as these drivers are going to be kind of trying to really balance behind one another. Like you said, not a really lot of driving lines here. It's just really one line around and hard to pass. Yeah. And that's really working into the favor of Derek Heitman right now.
Yeah, I mean, Heitman has definitely got some drivers, a line of them, breathing down his neck essentially, and you can drive side by side in 3 and 4. It's very difficult to do so, but it is possible. That's really the place where you're going to want to pass.
And speaking of passing, Randy Mullins really starting to challenge for the lead here as he is dialing right up onto the back of Derek Heitman as he did coming out of 3 and 4, seeing how that works out here for him going into the next turns.
Yeah, definitely curious if he's going to be able to make anything happen. Let's take a look through the cockpit camera of one of these drivers out here, Big Al. Who do you think?
Oh, I say the 14 of Jeffrey Souza.
Kind of see what this place looks like when you're in the actual cockpit of one of these cars getting around here. You see in 1 and 2, you kind of dip down a little below the apron, then you slide up to the top of the track, and then you start to go down on the exit of 2. Now, this is the trickiest part of this racetrack is 1 and 2 because you're not just holding the one line. You're moving all over the racetrack. And there goes Brian Johnson with a heck of a pass.
I think we definitely picked the best car. Now here comes Matt DeCiani as well as he's going to be looking to the inside of Jeffrey Souza.
Yeah, look at DeCiani able to dive it right in. He slides right up in, and it takes over that 4th place position. So Souza is trending towards the wrong direction, I'd say, right now. And he's got a whole line of cars behind him wanting to do something here. Look at that. Kenny Paladin trying to make a pass on Darren Mullen.
But better yet, Brian, we're sitting here talking about how difficult it is to pass here, and these guys are just passing it around like it's just, oh, well, never mind. But I'm just saying, like,
I have no clue what you're getting ready to say, and I don't want to know.
Well, we're talking about how hard it is to pass here,
yeah.
But they're definitely not seeming to be the case, as literally we've seen quite a few positions change here in the relative.
100%. I think what that does, though, really, truly, it speaks to the quality and skill level of these drivers out here. I mean, this is it's a hard track to pass at, but these ISCA guys will still try to get it done. And like I said, it takes some cojones to try to pass out here. And these guys are comfortable in the race cars. You can tell they put in hundreds of laps this week already.
Yeah, and I think that's a big difference between here and some other places that we both frequent. But it's just it's so awesome that they pass and there's no cautions. So to speak to that,
whoa, Souza getting incredibly loose off the corner there.
Well, he was running strong early on, so it is interesting to see that his car would kind of tighten up like that, and that's going to definitely cost him a couple positions.
Yeah, he's still able to hold on right now to 5th place as Don Avery, of course. I'm assuming they're on similar equipment's not far behind him. Now, in practice, those guys were very fast, so I'm curious and how they're going to do for the rest of this race. Now, of course, considering we talked about 100% gas, that is one part of it. But also, this is a completely different. This is a league session, not official session. The officials, go all over the place when it comes to temperature, and the same thing could be said for this, league session here for the ISCA. I mean, the conditions could be vastly different to what these guys could be used to.
Yeah, but if you think about it and you just look at what's going on right now, you got drivers that are literally up in the front of this thing you don't usually see in an ISCA race. Way to go, Derek Heitman. And then you got Randy Mullins, Brian Johnson, and Matt DeCiani, and Jeffrey Souza. That's a top 5 that you don't very rarely see at an ISCA event. So that just lets you know maybe that 100% is starting to tip the scales just a little bit. But, man, look at Derek Heitman go. Still leading this thing right now. And we are 16 laps into it, almost halfway through that first segment, Brian. And I think the one story we're telling is right now it's just Randy Mullins trying to get around Derek Heitman, being patient, but I don't know how much patient he is going to be.
Well, I'll tell you the one we really need to keep an eye on is Brian Johnson. I mean, he's hounded both of these guys. Brian Johnson is very good at this track. Would not be surprised to see him get up here and lead some laps and possibly even try to get a win here. Not a lot of fall off from what we've seen so far from a lot of these drivers. I mean, the lap times have fallen off, but a lot of these guys seem very similar when it comes to pace. But I'll tell you what I'm noticing from Randy Mullins. In 3 and 4, he's wrapping a little bit lower on the track than Derek Heitman is. And it seems like usually, historically, at Darlington, you run higher on the wall in 3 and 4, but it doesn't seem like that might not be the case here as of late.
Well, if he's got it figured out with this setup in these tires based on the last updates. But the thing is, I'm thinking that that Randy is really feeling a little bit the pressure because, he does have Brian Johnson back there saying, hey, I'm not going to let you get away with this thing and kind of breathe easy. So he has got to put as much pressure on Derek Heitman as he possibly can here, Brian.
That he does. Of course, you see Matt DeCiani was closing in a little bit on Brian Johnson. Johnson really good in 1 and 2, it does appear. Not as good in 3 and 4. We saw him lose a little bit of time on there in the front stretch, but he looks like he gains it all right back in 1 and 2. So that's one thing about this track that a lot of people don't realize either, because of how vastly different one side of the racetrack is to the other. It's so hard to set up a car that is going to be good on both ends.
Yeah, and I would be remiss if I didn't say something about Derek Jacobs, who is really kind of starting to find himself by himself, and I don't know if he's going to work this out. But just like that, the 84 of Andrew Layton is really off the pace, Brian. Not sure what just happened with that car. Maybe we might want to take an instant replay on it.
Looks like maybe some contact here. Yep, with Greg Wyszynski into the outside wall. Wyszynski down on the apron, and then, of course, Andrew Layton takes a left turn down onto the apron. Some heavy damage paid out to that 84. I don't know if we're done here yet. But, no, yeah, I think the 84 actually just decided to bring it down pit road.
Yeah, definitely going to need to get that car checked out, as he was not faring the best from the damage perspective.
No, not at all. That was a big hit there. Of course,
Yeah.
it also involved Greg Wyszynski. I think Wyszynski's going to be at a limp away and not lose a lap, but Andrew Layton has gone a lap down as we're now 22 laps into this thing. Of course, this is an Ironman competition, Big Al. I mean, this is not going to be a simple thing. We're going to have guys that aren't going to make it to the end. I mentioned that before, and I can't stress it enough.
Well, Andrew Layton being the first recipient of that needed repair flag, and that's what the meatball is going to send him down pit road. Looks like a broken toe link at least, so that's going to put him at least 8 minutes down pit road. And this early on in the contest, I think he should just probably stick around, O'Brien, at least try to get some laps in towards the end of this thing.
Yeah, definitely try to get some laps in for sure. Definitely still some battling going on, as tires are definitely starting to get worn out, I'd say. Lap times have fallen off quite substantially.
Yeah, lap time's fallen off almost a full second. Not quite there yet, but that does show how much this lady does love to eat Goodyears.
100%. This place eats them up for breakfast, and what gives it that nature, I'd say, has got to be, of course, the pond that was used to be here at the Darlington Raceway. And before they built this place, Ramsey's Minnow Pond, they actually, that's why it has an egg shape. Darlington has an egg shape. You see 3 and 4 being a little bit more of a shallower turn, kind of a smaller turn, I should say, is because of that minnow pond. So blame Ramsey's Pond for making Darlington as unique as it is.
I mean, everything's got to have its purpose. I mean, I think this track was just designed to be this way. That's what God wanted. That's why he put it right here.
100%. Now 25 laps in, Derek Heitman still in the lead. He's starting to pull away a little bit on Mullins. It just seems like having that clean air and being up front is the key. And Derek Heitman is definitely just lapping it all up.
Well, but also additionally, Randy Mullins is starting to be able to feel a little bit more free as well.
Al Kozlowski just got really loose. What were you saying, Big Al? I do apologize.
I was just saying that now also Randy Mullins has a little bit of reprieve from Matt DeCiani as well. So as everybody starts to kind of get a little bit more into race pace, because we are just a little bit over halfway through this stage, and now you're starting to figure out who brought the best setup. But side by side there goes Josh Schaffner.
A little bit of contact between the two as Schaffner is going to win that bout. Oh, Kenny Powell to the rear end of Jeffrey Souza, getting a little bit hairy right here.
Don Avery really can't be feeling too good about everything that's going on right there. But, Brian, we kind of got clusters around this racetrack right now. There's groups of 4, another group of 3, another group of 3, then another group of 3, and then a couple of singles, man. I think everybody's just kind of, for the most part, quadding it up, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, you see right now on our screens, you can see that the biggest gap has got to be between Brian Johnson and Josh Schaffner. Souza definitely getting a little bit loose on that last time by. Schaffner has over 2 seconds to get up there to Brian Johnson. So he's definitely going to be doing all he can to try to see if he can't get that gap down. Of course, time is running out, just considering I do believe this time by 12 laps to go here in this stage.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm bringing up these clusters like this is that's going to prove to be interesting, especially when we get into that third and final stage where we're going to be going from, lap 95 to 183. If these guys find themselves comfortable and these cars are running faster in clusters like that, we're definitely going to have to pay attention and see how these clusters actually start to form up.
Yeah, definitely a cluster right up here. I mean, you see the top 4, they're all pretty close to one another right now. And if they start racing, that's the thing about Darlington, Big Al, and it's like that at a lot of tracks. When you go side by side, it slows you down, and the guys behind are going to catch you. And Darlington is that on steroids.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, it is probably now go time because you are within 10 laps of the stage. So if anybody was planning on making a move, I would assume that would have to be within the top 4 because I don't really see anybody gaining that much ground as 5th place or beyond. That would be Josh Schaffner, and currently we're showing him being some 1.7 seconds back behind the leader. So,
yeah, and also we saw, I do believe, Andrew Layton coming off of pit road. He's now 10 laps down, so glad to see that car still rolling at least. But it looks like Derek Heitman's got it well in hand. I don't think that Mullins can get it done. Mullins a little bit loose off the corner there, starting to show some chinks in that armor in the 54.
He's going to have to do what he's got to do. And what I mean when I say that is everybody's got to bring that setup, and you got to make it work. You might have to tweak it here and there, but this first stage should be really about pushing it as hard as you can, trying to figure out exactly where the weak parts are, and then you'll know exactly what to tweak on, Brian.
Yeah, very difficult to know exactly what kind of adjustments to make. But, of course, these guys have a lot of knowledge and know-how on what they need to do to adjust on these race cars. I'm sure that they're definitely conferring and talking about it right now, because if you're going to make adjustments, now's the time, or even just look at your tire wear. A lot of guys are going to be looking at that necessary information to try to see if they can get a hint on what they're doing wrong, what tire they're burning up, and it's not even adjustments on the race car, adjustments on how you're driving it. As we see, I do believe Matt DeCiani really starting to put pressure back on Randy Mullins once again.
Yeah, Mullins going to do what he can to keep DeCiani at bay. You definitely can count on that.
100%. So it seems like Randy Mullins has got a really good, short run car. I'd say 30 laps. It seems like it works very well for him. Still not doing terrible for him, but I know he's going to be wanting to try to see if he can't get a little bit more long run out of that car. And I'll tell you, Randy Mullins has definitely been very impressive lately, but I'll tell you, his father has even been very impressive lately. I mean, he's been getting some awesome finishes. I mean, we rarely get to talk to him, but we've had a lot more time to talk to him lately. But this time it looks like Randy Mullins is shining a little bit brighter than his father tonight.
Hey, you win some, you lose some. Some tracks you just kind of feel, some tracks you don't, and maybe this is the one that he definitely feels. But I'm telling you, somebody is definitely feeling themselves. That's a 76 of Derek Heitman as he is starting to increase his lead, thinking that maybe we were starting to bring these clusters closer together here with 5 laps to go on this stage, but it's just doing the direct opposite. Also, the 27 of Derek Jacobs is going to start to find himself being a victim here if he doesn't really step it out a little bit.
Yeah, this is a hard track for lap traffic, I'll tell you that.
And, he's running really well, though, Brian. He has been making tremendous strides week to week, just watching. But, here this week, though, I think it might be a little bit much for him.
I mean, it's Darlington. I mean, this is one of the when we say it's the hardest track on a NASCAR circuit, I mean, we mean that. This is a hard track. As we watch Mark Sanchez right there on the back end of Jeffrey Souza, seeing what he can do. Sanchez running really good tonight, 9th place. We'll have to see if that stands. Ryan Strunk also, glad to see him back. He's in the top 10. But the battle is on right now as Derek Jacobs does go a lap down. He gets right out of the way. Didn't cause any problems there. Very respectful driver getting down out of the way. Apron's large here. Does slow you down quite a bit going down there. So he is sacrificing quite a bit to just give these guys the position. But he doesn't want to ruin anybody's race. So you got to definitely respect him for that, as Mark Sanchez still putting a lot of pressure on the rear end here of Jeffrey Souza. Virgin on now 2 laps to go here in stage 1. And there goes Souza. He just drops down to the bottom, lets Mark Sanchez go, and a change in position. Sanchez is going to get some more points if he stays where he is. And we talk about that time and time again, how important these stage points are, Big Al. I mean, they can outweigh a race win.
Yeah, we've seen that happen on more than one occasion. So it's about consistency. That's what's going to win championships, just like a much in real racing. But Derek Heitman consistently being the leader here tonight, man. Brian Johnson being the fastest mover, though, right there on that last lap.
Yeah, you see Josh Schaffner has made his way up to 4th. He actually got by Brian Johnson, so Johnson's having a really good recovery right now. It seems like he was starting to fall off, but glad he's back up to running some really good pace as a white flag is out for the stage. And I do believe once the 10th place car crosses the line, yellow flag will come out. Of course, that will be Ryan Strunk. But I do believe it's pretty much all official. Derek Heitman, your stage 1 winner. And there is the yellow. Randy Mullins, of course, coming home 2nd place. Matt DeCiani in 3rd. Josh Schaffner 4th. 5th place, Brian Johnson. 6th place, Don Avery. 7th place, Mark Sanchez, I do believe. 8th place, I'm sorry, a little bit of a mix-up here in the, I do believe in the standings here. I do believe Kenny Powell has dropped a spot for some reason, so I do believe Mark Sanchez is in 7th, Kenny Powell 8th, 9th place Jeffrey Souza, and Ryan Strunk in 10th. So I do apologize, a little bit of a typo or error somewhere in this telemetry, but yeah, Kenny Powell lost a position there right before before the checkered for the stage came out. But with that, I do believe we'll take a brief step away. We'll be right back, and we'll talk to our stage 1 winner.
Speed training. It's how Advanced Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster. Not bad. The parts you need, even faster. Advanced Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
And we are back. As you can see, yellow flag pit stops are underway right now. Wait until Derek Heitman completes this stop so we don't bother him or mess with any communication going on with the crew here. See who wins the race off of pit road. I'll tell you who's not going to be taking 2 tires here tonight. Anybody, I don't believe. This is not the track to do it. But it looks like Heitman does win the race off pit road. Matt DeCiani comes out in 2nd. Josh Schaffner with some position gains. He's going to be moving on up to 3rd. Well, let's go ahead and speak with our stage 1 winner, Derek Heitman. Derek Heitman, we got you in the booth. Do you read me?
And what's going on?
Hey, man, how you doing? Great job so far. I mean, it seemed like you were running pretty good there in the short run. You had a lot of guys right behind you hounding you, but it looked like you were able to kind of hold them off, and in the long run, you really came to life. How's that car feeling?
I was feeling really good. A little loose on exit, but, I mean, that's just really seems to be how you have to drive this track. I haven't been good here all week. Not a single top 10 finish, believe it or not, but just trying to hang on to it, really.
100%. You definitely have been doing exactly that for sure. I mean, what are some of the challenges of this track? I mean, I know you've been here before. This is one of the ones I guess, you know, one of the only tracks we've seen thus far to where you've been here before.
I'd say the biggest challenges are just continually hitting your marks and, you know, passing for sure. I mean, if someone's going to try to pass you, you got to definitely be on the defensive mode, because the last thing you want to do is give that spot up, because getting it back is going to be the biggest pain in your butt ever.
Yeah, 100%. Track position is very important, so no wonder you've been holding on to it for dear life. Do you think clean air is important here tonight?
Clean air is extremely important. It just feels like, to me, if you're behind somebody, since you know, I guess we haven't had an aero update since the last time we've been here, but it sure feels like it. But if you're behind somebody trying to get into the corner, it just feels like you're a lot tighter on entry than you should be. So you got to back the corner up a little bit more. So clean air is definitely a huge difference.
Well, definitely. Hopefully it works out for you. Hopefully it saves you some tires for sure. Well, looks like the pace car lights are going out. We'll let you get back to it. Before we let you go, though, who can we get a shout out to?
Michael Conti for all the effort to get me better this week. I've been absolute dumpster fire this week, and he's really put the effort in, been in my inbox. We created a whole Google Drive for the entire team to upload replay files, and it just keeps getting better and better over here as far as coaching goes. So got to shout out him and EPI.
All right, we'll definitely appreciate your time, Derek, and we'll let you get back to it. Good luck.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Alrighty, that was Derek Heitman, our Stage 1 winner. And, of course, the pace car lights are out. Green flag's getting ready to come back out once again as we continue the Advanced Auto Parts 250 at Darlington Raceway. And here we go. Pace car getting ready to take that dramatic left turn as they turn these cars loose once again. Of course, this stage goes to 95. So another 40-lap jaunt right now, Big Al. There it is, green flag back out.
Yeah, Derek Heitman wasting no time getting back into the swing of things. Josh Schaffner, though, improving his position, starting all the way back in 8th place, now up in 2nd. He's going to be our biggest mover of the race thus far. Matt DeCiani going to be dialing up his rear end, though, trying to best his position as Matt started back in 5th, but now he is just going to be tucking in behind Schaffner.
Side by side right now in 3 and 4 as Brian Johnson and Randy Mullins are duking it out. Don Avery lined up with the 77 of Ryan Strunk on the bottom right behind him. And look at Avery taking advantage of the situation. What a move.
Talking about making hay while the sun's shining, these guys definitely trying to make those moves while they got fresh tires. Don Avery way down on the racetrack, down the apron, though. He's going to let these guys slip slide away. Definitely think he is going to preserve himself and maybe live to race another day.
Yeah, looks like he's just able to defend. Oh, he gets loose again. He is having some major handling issues, but he's able to stay just in front of Brian Johnson right now. So definitely maybe some adjustments on the 11 crew that possibly did not agree with the race car. Josh Schaffner's our leader now. Josh Schaffner is taking the lead from Derek Heitman.
Heitman just talked about the importance of having track positions. I don't think this was something that he let go willingly.
Of course, Josh Schaffner has won 2 races this season, more than anybody else. Is he trying to go third? Way too early to tell, but I guarantee you he's going to be trying. As we see Randy Mullins also closing in on the back door of Matt DeCiani. Single file for the most part, but I don't know how long that's going to last here. As look at that, Ryan Strunk underneath Brian Johnson. Ryan Strunk, one driver we haven't talked a whole lot about here tonight, looking good in the 7th place, trying to take 6th away from that Ford machine. He goes all the way to the apron, he slides up, and he's going to get clear. I think Johnson might have cut him a break there.
Yeah, and he's got Mullins right behind him, so that definitely doesn't make him feel the best. And sometimes you just got to try to get your footing back underneath you, Brian, so that you might be able to stand and fight and swing another way. But here comes the other Mullins. That's going to be Darren as he is that's going to be Randy Mullins as he's trying to best his position back up to 4th place.
100%. Randy Mullins trying to make something happen here on the one of Matt DeCiani. This is probably one of the best handling cars Randy Mullins has had we've seen thus far. He has been running really incredibly good. Of course, he did have not as good of a longer pace, but I'll tell you, Don Avery almost bump drafting him into turn 1, sending him into the corner a little faster than he wants to go. Now, that's the thing you want to kind of do at this track, but look at Ryan Strunk. Now he's going to mess with this 11.
Yeah, you got to let it run, man, and try to figure out where it's going to lay early on into this stage right now. Track temp really not going up but 2 degrees here now. Currently it's 87 degrees. Wind still at 5 miles an hour. I believe it bumped to +1.
You see Josh Schaffner right now almost has a second lead on the rest of these drivers. Is he burning his tires up?
No, I don't think so. I think Heitman is just really having to deal with exactly the one thing that he didn't want to deal with, Brian, and that is, he is in that dirty air. And that car is really having to back his turns up, his corners as much as he can, and it's still not working out in his favor. I think he probably just wishes that he could find a way back up to the bumper and around Schaffner.
%. Looking at lap times right now, Schaffner is falling off a little bit. He was 2/10 slower than Derek Heitman that last time by. Matt DeCiani was even faster than that. Brian Johnson, I do believe, was one of the fastest cars on the track as well. So a lot of guys with some varying pace right now. Wes Dobbs was really quick that last time by. 29.873 from him in that 72.
And you know what? At this point in the game, you really don't have to try to burn your stuff up. You just got to maintain the lead and stay in that clean air. That way, you can actually drag it out and not lose so much towards the end of the stage. So, be interesting to see if Baby Schaffner is just doing that. I mean, we did see a similar strategy to that just last week, I do believe.
Yeah, you're right. At Rockingham, I mean, to where he kind of almost kept a certain gap the whole entire race. And just knew exactly what laps he had to run. He's so good about that, as we do see Don Avery still having to battle right now. Ryan Strunk trying to make something happen. Of course, Randy Mullins has also been looking for any pathway he can take to try to get around DeCiani, but just has not had any luck thus far. But I do think Mullins at this stage of the race is faster. Now, DeCiani might be faster later, though. Darlington All is a track that goes through a lot of phases when it comes to how these tires start to act. But Derek Heitman even starting to get pressured a little bit from his compatriot there, the one of DeCiani. Don Avery with a little bit of a blinking issue. He's down on the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like he slides up in front of Brian Johnson here. Still holding on to 6th place. A lot closer of a stage here, wouldn't you say, Big Al? I mean, we saw him spread out a little bit more than this last stage. I think everybody's kind of found their groove, their rhythm, wouldn't you say? Derek Heitman, though, trying to hold off his teammate and trying to catch up to John Schaffner. Schaffner has been keeping that gap at around the same thing. It's been about 0.7 has been where he's been kind of keeping it at. But Heitman is starting to kind of cut into that gap a little bit, starting to show some major pace. Of course, he did lead every lap of stage number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. But he did talk about the one thing that he feared, Brian, and that was not being in the clean air. So now he is definitely having to deal with that. And I think we're starting to see the detriments. But one thing, though, like we'll continually talk about, that is, I don't want people to get lulled into a false sense of security, but the ISCA guys, this is so much of a cleaner race than it is any other way you're going to see it. Even the pros, there's going to be more cautions than you're going to see here. So that adds a whole nother dimension to planning out with your race car, because you got to kind of make sure that you got enough to make it through the end of the stage. Schaffner doing just that, trying to keep out to a comfortable distance and maybe making other drivers burn their equipment up because you don't have that false sense of security of waiting on a caution.
100%. As we see Kenny Powell trying desperately to find his way back up through the field. He started a little bit higher than he is right now, but has had some issues trying to get through traffic. And traffic is one of the hardest things that these guys have to deal with at this racetrack. Is you see just a lot of cars in front of Wes Dobbs kind of holding Kenny Powell up just a tiny bit. That's the thing about this track. You don't want to get stuck behind someone because they will slow you down, but it's so hard to pass, and that'll slow you down too. You also saw Ryan Strunk has moved up into sixth place, able to get around Brian Johnson. I'll tell you, that 77 looking really incredible here tonight.
But
Getting real close to the wall there. Wow.
But what we're seeing again, Brian, is we're starting to see these clusters develop. You can almost see them now, even though we're early on in this stage, but it's almost now they're starting to get in thirds, and then it'll eventually get in the fourth. So I think that might, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is probably going to be a big deal once we come into those green flag pit stops here in that next stage.
Yeah, and you mentioned about how clean this iRacing series is. The ISCA is one of the cleanest series out there. And, that also makes it to where it's almost inevitable that these guys are going to have to make a green flag stop. I mean, I don't think they're going to be – it depends. I mean, if caution comes out at the right time, it definitely could. But one thing about Darlington, though, it's hard to predict cautions, just considering even if a guy wrecks, the apron's so big here, the racing groove is very narrow. And if someone wrecks down there below the apron, caution's not going to come out for that.
That is a very true story.
I mean, I have seen so many wrecks at Darlington that do not bring cautions out because, I mean, you see that white dotted line that goes along the bottom of the track there. That is what marks the begin and end of the racing groove and apron. As Josh Schaffner still out front, still maintaining a good enough lead to Derek Heitman to where he can see him in his rear view. But I guarantee you, Schaffner probably not wanting to pay too much attention to that. This is a track you don't like to look out your rear view mirror, I'll tell you that, because if you're not focused on what's ahead, that wall's going to get you.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of those tracks where you really can't focus on your relative. You got to focus on what's going on because, just like you said, it just takes a split second, and the next thing you know, you find yourself in a whole different situation. Good to see Schaffner, though, now up front, making sure. I mean, he is doing exactly what he needs to do. We're seeing a little bit of what we saw last week.
You see Don Avery starting to battle with Randy Mullins now. Avery to the bottom as they enter turn 3 and 4, I do believe. It looks like Avery able to get that pass completed. So Randy Mullins starting to maybe fall off a little bit. We saw Avery have some issues earlier in this run, but he has recovered very nicely and has moved up into the 4th place position. So he's got a well-handling car. Now, what's surprising is Souza has went the opposite direction that Avery has went. Of course, Jeffrey Souza all the way back there in 11th position. He started much closer to the front than that.
Well, I think right now he's just kind of running his own race, and, he is definitely feeling his way through this stage.
I think a lot of these guys are just feeling their way through this stage. Just consider, I mean, this is not a track to where you might feel somewhat confident and comfortable, but Darlington will humble you. It will humble you every single time as we're almost having a 3-wide situation there, kind of developing, but it looks like they did not go 3-wide. Brian Johnson able to make it by Randy Mullins as well as Ryan Strunk. But I'll tell you, this place will humble you. I mean, it's almost, Miles the Monster at Dover, they almost need to move Miles over here,
Yeah, I love Dover. I'd rather run Dover blindfolded than run Darlington, to be honest with you.
And it has that kind of thing. It's you love it or hate it. You love it or hate it.
I said it.
I don't think anyone blames you, Big Al, because you either love it or hate it. Now I can't say that people hate watching races here at Darlington. I say the drivers either love it or hate it.
Epic to watch. It's always going to be exciting to watch it. We got a lot of movement going on right now as Kenny Powell is starting to make his way around Mark Sanchez. I think he just passed Matthew McKeegan, actually. McMeekin. I said McKeegan again.
Matthew McMeekin, of course, was a driver that used to participate quite a bit in the ISCA. Glad to see him back in that 41 machine. As Kenny Powell, like you just mentioned, moves his way up into, I do believe, the 10th place spot. Good on him. Jeffrey Souza also trying to work his way up.
Yeah, definitely, because remember, these stage points, that's what these guys are battling for right now. It doesn't seem like much, but, Brian, that's what it's actually going to take to get the job done, because at the end of the night, if you come out here and you got a goose egg through the first 2 stages, I mean, that's really not going to show what you've done. And with a 19-car field, I mean, it's really putting the pressure on. And out of those 19 cars, 18 are still on the lead lap.
Yeah, definitely good to see that for sure. Even Derek Jacobs still on the lead lap. Of course, he won't be on there for much longer, just considering he's about 22 seconds behind Josh Schaffner. Now, Derek Heitman has been inching incrementally closer to Schaffner as we watch the battle between Mark Sanchez and Darren Mullins. And I misspoke a little bit earlier. I said Kenny Powell had gotten past Sanchez, I do believe, up to 10th. He's actually sitting 11th, but that might change here shortly as these guys are all up on top of each other. As here goes Sanchez to the bottom, really close to the 64's left rear. That was a close one. Oh, Kenny Powell
makes
bumps him.
Contact and then gets goosed by the 14, who then in turn gets goosed.
Kenny Powell able to hold it together. Still not out of the woods yet.
Wow, what a tragic turn of events there. A lot of drivers beating and banging on each other.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, Kenny Powell, tried to stay out of the rear end of the 64, was not able to do so. Almost bump drafted him into it, and of course had to lift, I'm assuming. And Jeffrey Souza was right there, was not expecting that lift, and got right into him as well. That could have been a whole lot worse, I'll tell you what, Big Al. I don't think anybody got hurt in that situation, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm going to tell you, what it really didn't do Kenny Powell any favors, because now he finds himself all the way back in 12th place. Greg Wachinski, who got involved in an earlier skirmish, is all the way back up to 13th. He's got to be feeling pretty good about his run right now, as well as he's got his G&G teammate, Al Kiselowski, right back there in 14th place. But the whole thing that I'm saying about this is Powell really had to get out of it a lot, Brian, and I think that's going to keep him out of the money here as Stage 2 starts to find its way into its latter stages.
Yeah, I do believe this time by now, 20 laps to go here in this stage. So this race has been flying right on by, already 75 laps into this event. And Josh Schaffner right now out front. But for how long? I mean, we got the hungry Derek Heitman, the 76 phenom, I'd say, that has kind of showed up here in the iRacing Stock Car Association. I mean, he's gotten great finish after great finish, a multiple-time winner. If Schaffner... if I was in Schaffner's shoes, I'd definitely be sweating a little bit. But then again, Schaffner's always cool as a cucumber, Big Al, the Iceman, as you've dubbed him.
Yeah, absolutely. Contact on the racetrack. Big problems right there.
Who was that, Big Al?
Like the 14 of Jeffrey Souza definitely finds himself off in a way. No caution flag out.
Taking a quick look back at this, and I mentioned it before about how huge the apron is here. Looks like this happened in 1 and 2, I do believe. Yep. Just got loose off the corner. Oh, and then backs it into the inside wall. Luckily, not a whole lot of damage on that race car, but you can see no caution coming out.
No
big
caution.
Apron.
I think that's going to be the whole takeaway from that whole shot right there was no caution. Also, now we've got Derek Jones. Derek
Jones, huh? Who's that?
Look, and I knew a guy in the Army named Derek Jones. Sorry. I mean, Derek's, you just
shout out to Derek Jones. If he's watching, man, that's nuts.
I don't think he liked me like that, though.
I'll tell you what, you saw Derek Jacobs there kind of check up Josh Schaffner a little bit. That allowed Derek Heitman to come in, and here comes the pass for the lead, or what could be the pass for the lead. We'll have to wait and see how this turns out. Can he get there? And it looks like he's not going to be able to do so. Schaffner able to hold a little bit of a higher line to protect.
No, he is right there. He is doing it. He's going to be doing everything in his power to try to get around Schaffner. But remember, Brian, like we always say, one thing to catch somebody, something totally different to pass. Schaffner, I think, is still just kind of putting it out there just enough to kind of help Derek kind of burn his tires up a little bit, if you will.
And we saw that at Rockingham, from what I recall. He was kind of luring guys into a false sense of security, making them chase that carrot. And there goes Heitman into the outside wall, and now Josh Schaffner with a little bit of breathing room. I think that's Schaffner's MO. He even says it. He tries to bait these guys to run a little bit harder, and I think it worked. Hook, line, and sinker.
Souza just got passed by Powell there on the inside, so Powell making his way back up now. I think he is going to find himself now in 11th place.
Actually, 10th place. Kenny Powell, I do believe, just got by Darren Mullins.
Well, that's good for Kenny Powell. He is back in the money, definitely where he needs to be if he's going to try to turn this run into anything. Like you said prior to the race, Powell had tremendous speed, started in 11th. Now he's back up to 10th, so he has definitely got to try to make some hay while the sun's still shining, as we are now 13 laps here before this stage is over.
100%. Looks like a little bit of contact with the wall there for Ryan Strunk. Randy Mullins going to try to take advantage of Strunk, incredibly loose. Looks like he's able to keep it together, but Strunk is all over that rear end. Of course, this is for the 6th place position. Greg Carr, what a fantastic run for that 25. I tell you what, he has been another one to keep an eye on.
Wow, Mullins giving the bumper.
Yeah, this is that track. I mean,
yeah.
There it is, more contact.
That's going to put him into the wall, and there he's going to come back and bite just a little bit on that right rear quarter panel, just kind of showing his displeasure.
Yeah, definitely surprised that a lot of these accidents we see don't turn into cautions. But, man, these guys just able to save these race cars when you think they'd be gone. But Randy Mullins does take that spot, moves up to 6th place. Ryan Strunk, of course, relegated back to 7th. Greg Carr almost had the ability to maybe try to get around him, but it looks like Strunk has recovered. Of course, Mark Sanchez also right there. I mean, look at this top 10, Big Al. What a top 10 we got here tonight. Just all sorts of teams being represented.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to see, man. You want to see diversity. You want to just come in here and see, where, man, I got a great setup. I got a couple guys on my team all coming here, and next thing you know, got a chance of being on the podium. And who knows, man, you might get a chance to talk to Big Al or Brian Britt.
For sure. Al Kozlowski getting incredibly loose as he's trying to chase down Darren Mullins, trying to get that 11th place position. Al Kozlowski didn't look too good in the early portions of this run, but it's starting to look a little bit better here. As Greg Wyszynski, also nice recovery. He was involved in an accident just a little bit ago. It looks like he has recovered very well. As there goes Al Kozlowski.
Right now. Everybody's starting to get into their rhythm here, Brian.
Oh, big hit on the wall from Matthew McMeekin.
Yeah, not what he wanted to have happen.
Yeah, you can see the damage on that right front. I hate to interrupt you, Big Al, but that was quite a solid lick. This is a place that's going to happen. He called that the Darlington Stripe. I don't know if you call that a Darlington Stripe. I think he called that a Darlington Slap the Wall. This place will do it. You can only hit that wall so many times. Now, what was really funny, Big Al, I hate to kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I was watching Kenny Powell in one of his races, and he likes to go through the races after the fact and kind of look at all the incidents that happened. And he kept, skipping ahead to the next incident. And every incident, I tell you what, every incident was them coming out of 2 and hitting the wall. That was every one, and that's Darlington.
I totally understand what you're saying.
And Derek Heitman, though, has caught back up to Josh Schaffner, so the race for the lead getting ready to heat back up once again as we only have 7 laps here this next time by in the stage remaining. And more lap traffic is coming up here. I mean, you see Souza on the frame there.
Yeah, unfortunately for Jeffrey Souza, he kind of got a little bit sideways, and that's not exactly what you want here, man. We are really occupying every inch of real estate around this racetrack. I mean, a lot of gaps going on. I mean, drivers that we really thought were going to be a lot higher up, not doing too well at all, as now the 88 of Kozlowski bypasses his teammate, the 5 of Wyszynski, and that's going to put Kozlowski just one step closer to being in the top 10. Remember, only those top 10 points are going to carry top 10 positions are going to carry points, as we are 5 laps away from putting this stage in the books as well, Brian.
100%. You see battling going on all through the field still, though. Mark Sanchez fighting with Ryan Strunk, trying to find any way he can get around this driver. Of course, one more point is all it takes. I mean, that's what he wants. I mean, Mark Sanchez is fighting hard just to get this point. But it's going to be difficult.
But points matter. I'm telling you, I cannot state it. We can't overstate it. I mean, it is what it is. You got to get points when you can in the stage breaks. Only way you're going to be able to do that.
Here comes Sanchez. He does get side by side across the start-finish line. They're going to be going into 1 and 2. It's a game of chicken, and it looks like Mark Sanchez is going to get the position. But Ryan Strunk going to try to see if he can't possibly cross him back over into 3 and 4. I don't think he's going to be able to get it done.
Speaking of crossing over, Wachinski crossing over his G&G teammate of Al Kozlowski, and that's going to put him up into 11th place. Don't think these guys got any chance of catching Kenny Powell, but they got to be doing whatever it can, even if it's for naught, Ryan.
Al Kozlowski, of course, not done with Greg Wachinski. He's going to try to get back to his rear end. But I don't know if he's going to be able to get there. Greg Wachinski definitely showed a tremendous amount of speed last night. I was watching him do some A-Opens, and he's definitely got a lot of pace in that race car. I think that those G&G guys definitely brought a good race car, but then again, it just takes that focus. I mean, Darlington, like we keep saying it, it'll reach out and bite you, and you might not even feel like it was your fault. But, I mean, this track's out to get you sometimes, I'll tell you that.
Yes, we're halfway through this thing. I'm going to tell you, Wes Dobbs this stage could not end soon enough for him, as these guys are going to find themselves all up in the midst of getting lapped here, Brian, as the leader is slowly encroaching upon him. And I don't know if he's actually going to have enough time to actually keep Josh Schaffner off of him.
He's definitely going to try. I mean, we're coming up on the white flag here for the stage, so Wes Dobbs has the chance to hold him off. But then again, I mean, what happens when Derek Heitman catches up to the 50? I mean, could that also come into play here as Schaffner closes in quickly? 1 lap to go in this stage. Heitman is probably licking his chops right now, thinking, hey, I could use this to possibly get around that 50. Look at how close they are. Heitman all over the rear end. Wes Dobbs not relenting here. Oh, Schaffner with a little bit of loose condition. Derek Heitman's going to take advantage.
Schaffner's going to push him up under the wall.
Into the wall.
Heitman's definitely making contact with the wall, getting that Darlington stripe. That's going to allow Schaffner to not only get around Wes Dobbs, but also looks like he is going to withstand the barrage that it was from Derek Heitman.
Yeah, Heitman was definitely pulling out all the stops there to see what kind of advantage he could possibly get on Josh Schaffner. Now, of course, I do believe caution should be coming out any time as we wait for the top 10 to cross the line. Now, Kenny Powell, 19 seconds back, and there is the caution. Josh Schaffner, your Stage 2 winner. Derek Heitman, second place. Matt DeCiani in third. Don Avery, fourth. Fifth place, Brian Johnson. Sixth place, Randy Mullins. Seventh place, Greg Carr. Eighth place, Mark Sanchez. Ninth, Ryan Strunk. And rounding out our top 10 is Kenny Powell. Those are the stage top 10 stage finishers and points receivers. As when we come back here, we'll talk to our whoever Big Al decides he wants to talk to. And, of course, we will go into the real race when we have almost 100 laps to go.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgot.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tough, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to be joined in the booth by, I do believe, Josh Schaffner. Big Al is standing by.
Hey, Josh Hoffner, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, Al.
Well, hey, I have dubbed you the Iceman, and for 2 weeks in a row, you are definitely showing the reason why. A tremendous showing there in that second stage. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, just was able to work my way through kind of traffic. Didn't have a great starting spot tonight, and was able to work my way up through traffic. And I think I finished fourth or fifth there that first stage, and had a good pit stop. Came out third, and was able to get a good restart. And seemed like I got a little better fire off pace than what Derek and Matt had, and was able to kind of get out there and kind of pace. Probably pushed a little too hard. I was running out of tires there late in the run there, but learned a lot, and now we'll try to space ourselves a little bit better, kind of back to back, a little bit shorter stints. So we'll see what we got.
So you're feeling pretty good about this third stage, which is the longest stage of the night. Saying that you had learned a little bit. Is this going to work out in your favor?
Yeah, I think so, but I think the big thing this stage is going to be a clean pit stop. Getting on pit road here on old tires is a challenge. It's a challenging entry with fresh tires, and I really think the race is going to come down to just who can have a clean pit stop, get on and off clean, and maybe who can be the most aggressive without crossing the line, and that just might be the difference tonight.
What about clean air? Is that something that's really playing into your favor? Something maybe you would risk it for, or you really don't think track position is that important?
Yeah, clean air is a big deal. It's really hard to pass here. And the other thing with dirty air and old tires, that even gets worse. Once you get past 20 laps, it's really hard to pass. And, starting up front here, we'll try to fire off good again here and maybe just do a little bit better on the front side around the tire management. Derek's pretty quick on the long run.
What about 100% fuel tank? Is that going to play into your favor here in this stage?
No, fuel won't be an issue. It's going to be a 50-50 split, and fuel shouldn't be an issue, barring that we have a early caution maybe after 10 laps that puts fuel into play.
All right, good deal. I see that the lights are off on the pace car. You got to get back to work. Gonna do a mini shout out to anybody before we let you go?
Yeah, I just want to thank Pioneer Smith Farms, everybody at G&G, and just thanks for all their support.
Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you for your time, and good luck, and hopefully we'll see you at the end of this thing.
Appreciate it, Al.
Alrighty, that was Josh Schaffner. What a run there for him. Almost dominating stage number 2. Let's see what he can do here. Now on a lap 100. So that means we have 83 laps to go here in this race. Of course, fuel window, as Josh kind of mentioned or alluded to, is 71 laps. So these guys probably going to be splitting it in half. To apologize, not sure what that was about. We just had a little bit of a hiccup there with the broadcast, but green flag is back out in the air, and Josh Schaffner takes off.
Yeah, Schaffner wasting no time getting going, but the 25 finds himself holding up traffic. Not sure what was going on, but he did not get the memo. Greg Carr way off the pace there, going to cause a whole lot of checkup with the back of the field. That's going to give us a bigger split earlier in the race than what we normally would have had. Going to be interesting to see how these drivers battle through this, Brian.
No, you're 100% right. That definitely spread the field out quite a bit here, and this is the worst time for that to happen. I mean, this is going to be, no caution is going to save these guys. So, I mean, this is going to be a little bit rough. I mean, we see Randy Mullins, though, battling with Brian Johnson. Looks like Johnson taking that high side, able to continue to maybe move forward a little bit. He's going to move himself up into that 5th place position. Of course, Mullins now going to be under fire from Ryan Strunk as well. Greg Carr, even though he did have that hiccup, has still fared well positioned.
Sideways into the wall. Kenny Powell just got up into contact, and I do believe that was going to be Wes Dobbs. Dobbs not getting the good end of the stick on that.
Have to see if we can see exactly what happened here. Taking a look back at this and see if we can't catch what happened, but it looks like we might have not went far back enough. But that's all right. Looks like Kenny's car is at least in one piece, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. But Further on now, you got Brian Johnson battling with the 64 of Darren Mullins, and that got a little bit complicated right there. As Johnson made multiple, he's got multiple Darlington stripes now, if you will. I think they just start calling it the Darlington swipe because it looks like these guys are hitting it like an ATM machine.
100%. Of course, we did have a change for the lead while we were looking back there at Kenny Powell's incident. Of course, Josh Schaffner has fallen back into third. Derek Heitman takes back the throne as we watch the 64 and the 4 duke it out. Of course, the 77 of Ryan Strunk also trying to make something happen.
Yeah, a lot of things going on, Brian. At one point, I only got like so many cameras, but it was just, it was kind of like a melee of mayhem.
Oh, it definitely has been. And of course, the spread out has happened quite a bit here. You mentioned Wes Dobbs being involved in that accident. Well, now he's back all the way to 16th place and 10 seconds back. Now, I did talk a little bit, to some of these other teams. I know Derek Jacobs and his crew. Those guys are definitely wanting to make a mark on this series. And I love that. These guys are so determined to get better and better. They want to be able to challenge teams like G&G, EPI, and Triad.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is exactly what makes this league so awesome is you got so much competition, and now it's coming from so many different directions as well.
And a lot of new faces have been showing up, and just love that, we've switched it to this 100% fuel. Hey, that's going to be a big thing. Of course, we have extended the races a little bit, which makes it a little bit more of a endurance race in a lot of ways. But I'll tell you what, I don't mind watching a little bit extra good racing.
Yeah, that's not a problem for me. I'm still checking out at the 75% rate. So.
Of course, Al Kozlowski up in the top 10. He's trying to catch up there to Greg Carr. Al has been methodically making his way up through the field, so definitely going to be looking to get some good points. I know he didn't seem too confident coming into this racetrack, but Al, a lot of times, isn't very confident about some of these tracks, especially a track that brings tires up a lot. But
yeah.
I've been seeing improvement as he comes up to the 25, almost version on side-by-side. You see Kenny Powell side-by-side, I do believe, with the 41 of Matthew McMeekin.
Yeah, and those two have tangled once already, but Kozlowski says it best, man. He just isn't good at tracks where he has to conserve for save, and he understands that. So it's not like it's an Achilles heel. It's not an addiction problem. It's not unknown. He just doesn't like to save tires. I think is what it boils down to. He just likes to let it go, baby, and you can't really blame him as now he is coming up onto the back of the 25 of Greg Carr. Be interesting to see just how patient he is, though, before he actually tries to start making a move.
Yeah, 100%. As we see Matt DeCiani starting to pull away from Josh Schaffner. Of course, Schaffner starting to be pressured by Don Avery here. Heitman pulling away. I mean, he's got a 0.7 of a second here. Let's see if he can maintain it. We know he's got a good car on the long run.
Well, this is going to be that opportunity for drivers to showcase, their skill. I think we saw a lot of drivers ducking back down on pit road towards the end of that run right there, trying to maybe get more fuel in. And I don't know if that was the strategy or not, but if some guys are going to try to run it longer than the 50% split, that'd be interesting to see. But that's why we call them strategies. And we still got a ways to go here with 73 laps to go. I think we're just one lap away from these drivers actually being able to make it on fuel, say, if this thing were to go. Oh, and there's your caution right there. As looks like no caution as Wes Dobbs gets into it really hard. Still got an opportunity for a caution here, though, with Mullins, the 54, which is going to be Randy Mullins.
You said Wes Dobbs was involved in this?
Hold on. The 25, sorry. Greg Carr.
Taking a look back at this
with
Greg Carr.
Yeah, look for Mullins. Yeah, you see the smoke.
Do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We have found the accident, I do believe, though. You see, as you mentioned, Randy Mullins definitely involved, getting turned, I do believe, by Ryan Strunk here. But what a save from the 54. I mean, The 77 got the worst out of that, just considering he hit the wall. The 54 didn't hit anything. What a job from that 54.
Sorry about that, getting West Dobbs confused with Ryan Strunk.
Now, interesting to note, I mean, we're going to another difficult track next week as well, Big Al. Legacy Atlanta. Not that new Atlanta. That bumpy old Atlanta.
Yeah.
Should definitely be a good time. I like the older version myself. I have a little bit of, as we see some battling, though, Mark Sanchez trying to get around the 88. It looks like he is going to successfully do that and enter the top 10 now.
Yeah, but they're stuck in traffic right here, Brian, and I'm afraid if these guys don't start to try to figure out, this is like Geneva right here, man. You just gotta, you're just hoping that everybody plays nice, because otherwise we could end up in World War III, man.
Yeah, I think it could break out any time for sure.
I mean, we've had a lot of opportunities for cautions. We just haven't taken those, and I just think right now, you know, man, this is so close. And a caution right now would change. I mean, it would change everything.
That it would. Of course, these guys have been out here for almost 20 laps on these tires. Now, if I was a betting man, I would say these guys are probably going to pit at about 140 or somewhere in there, probably to try to see if they can't split this run in half. Maybe 139, somewhere in there. That's kind of where my math is at. Derek Heitman, though, is starting to get caught back in or reeled back in by Matt DeCiani. So this is a track where you don't get very far away before you start to fall back to the mean. This place, it's all about burning that candle.
They got to make it, though, as Greg Carr and Darren Mullins are banging side by side. Their car actually going to get the advantage here, but here comes Mullins back on the inside. This battle's far from over right here, Brian.
Oh, it definitely is very far from over. It looks like the 25 was even almost trying to block the 64. Did not want him to get underneath him, but it didn't seem like he had much choice in the matter. Souza dives down low. Not able to make anything happen with that run, though, as Greg Carr still holds on to that seventh place position. But Darren Mullins has been doing pretty good. I mean, he's methodically worked his way up through this field and is now up into 8th. Of course, Darren Mullins was way outside of the top 10 before, so glad to see him starting to have some success here. But look at Jeffrey Souza going to be trying to make something happen. I think Souza's been probably making adjustments on that car all race long. He's a tinkerer. We expect that from him. Of course, he didn't start out very good. It looks like he's definitely getting it in the right direction now.
Yeah, and he also is a set builder. That's another thing that works out into his advantage. But it looks like he's a little tight right there coming around that turn. That might cost him a little bit. Oh, he holds off Mullins. But here comes Wachinski. He's throwing his hat not only in the ring, but up on the bar, putting his feet on the coffee table.
Yeah, what a move there for him. Able to slide right around on the bottom side in 3 and 4, and he gets clear. Still side by side as Kenny Powell trying to make something happen as well. Lots of battling going on right now. These guys are fighting for every inch of real estate they can muster. You see, look at Ryan Strunk. He is out of sorts right now. Greg Wachinski, though, loses it big time.
And that's something you don't usually see at a track like Darlington, Brian. Usually these guys are far more tamed. But there goes Sanchez now. Powell starting to make his way around Wachinski. This is going to get really sporty.
Yeah, Kenny Powell almost verging on taking him 3 wide there. He's going to have, he entered the corner a little bit shallow. Going to lose a little bit of momentum on exit, I do believe, but he's able to maintain. Very nicely done from Kenny Powell as we see the 29 of now Mark Sanchez trying to get underneath the 64, and I do believe he is going to be taking over 9th place.
Wow,
man, look at this, how close these guys are. Yeah, these guys are all up on top of each other. They are battling.
They're battling like it's 10 to go here, Brian, but we're still 61 laps to go. I mean, wow.
You don't see battling like this anywhere else, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, especially not at a track like Darlington. Usually everybody's trying to be a good boy, but here everybody's being good old boys.
100%, and it's not. We're not out of the woods yet. I mean, Kenny Powell's racing hard to stay right there on the back end of the 5, and maybe even better his position is. Look at that, Matthew McMeekin comes up to, I do believe, Ryan Strunk.
Strunk got a little bit loose there, and that allowed McMeekin to actually start to bridge that gap just a little bit. The one driver that is starting to benefit from this, though, is Sanchez, as he is actually starting to pull away.
Kenny Powell now side by side with his G&G teammate. Oh, he touches the 64 a little bit. Side by side exit 4.
Touches him back. Pass still not complete as Mullins defends his position.
These guys have got to be burning their tires up. I mean, I cannot believe that they're able to maintain this form of racing right now. You can tell they've been losing time, though. Al Kozlowski loose off that last corner.
Loose.
Whoa.
Way loose. That's going to cost him a ton of positions, Brian.
Al Kozlowski now back into the 15th position. Kenny Powell not done yet. Side by side once again with Darren Mullins.
They're definitely going to feel this in the morning. I'm telling you, their tires are going to start to wear here, and they're going to definitely start to fall off. I mean, look at how far they are falling back now from the leaders.
100%. I mean, and look at lap times. I mean, you see Derek Heitman and everybody up in the top 5. I mean, they're still in the 30-second range. Kenny Powell's hitting 31-second laps. I mean, these guys are slowing each other down a lot.
Yeah, they're really back here battling in this to their own detriment. But, hey, man, it gives us something to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I love every bit of it. They said they were going to try to make it exciting. Well, they are doing exactly that.
Absolutely. They'll follow the leader here tonight.
Oh, Powell into the outside wall. Strunk incredibly loose. This is the battle to watch right here.
Wojcinski actually followed Powell into the wall there as he got a little bit of contact as well. Mullins now going to be able to hopefully do the same thing that Sanchez. Look at the difference, the distance that Sanchez has put on these guys since he was actually able to quit battling with them.
Oh, yeah, he is gone. I mean, he's got definitely a good bit of distance. I mean, like 4 seconds right now.
Ooh, Mullins way off the pace. Looks like he was coming down pit road.
Something wrong with that race machine. He takes a tow here.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the machine. Maybe that he is manually disconnected. I think maybe he just either had enough or didn't want any more.
100%.
Either way,
just looking back at this, I think, yeah, he just pulls off the track here. No contact or anything.
Either way, he gone. The 27 of Derek Jacobs, he is down pit road.
Unfortunate to see that from Darren Mullins. Was having a really good night here tonight, but just pressure definitely starting to build up. Of course, Greg Wojcinski has gotten by Kenny Powell, is now in 10th position. Derek Heitman, still your leader, has about a half a second back to Matt DiCiani. Josh Schaffner not far back as well. Of course, these three have been the class of the field thus far. Don Avery not that far back, though.
But you know what, though? I think I kind of like what Schaffner's doing here because right now, why do you want to be out front? I mean, you don't necessarily want to lead the pace. Let him go out there. Let him wear his tires out. And you just kind of take it easy. Ride around until you're comfortable and confident, and then you want to pit. Then you come on down pit road, take your tires, and you run that thing to the end of the race. That's what I like that. I like what he's doing. And Don Avery, right there in the shadows. You know, Don Avery, like, look, I don't need to be the focus of the picture. I just need to be in the frame. And that's what he's been doing all night here. So expect to see Avery at least on the podium at the end of this thing as well.
Yeah, definitely could very well be the case here as green flag pit stops are starting to become a probability, I'd say, here very soon.
Kozlowski down pit road right now.
It looks like they are starting to kick off.
Yeah, with 51 laps to go, though, these guys are going to be on the front end of it. Kozlowski obviously having decided that he would do better just coming on down now. Remember, we were just talking about him not being the guy to save tires, and I think maybe that's exactly the reason why he is smiling as big as he is right now.
Now, of course, yeah, we have about 50 laps to go. Derek Heitman short pitting. These guys have only have 35 laps on their tires. Heitman pitting way early right now. Could this be the call to make? We'll have to wait and see. DeCiani, though, has stayed out. He has now inherited the lead.
I don't know whose hand he's forcing on this. We'll just have to see who bites.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anybody does. I'm just kind of confused at why he would go down this early. But, I mean, you know, he knows better than us. I'll tell you that. That's why he's down on the racetrack and we're up here. Hopefully he's able to get down pit road cleanly, or, you know, at least get off of into his box cleanly and not have any issues.
Yeah, Jeffrey Sousa is battling now back and forth with the 29 of Sanchez. That battle is going to be going on for 8th place.
Heitman does go down a lap. Definitely been some awesome battling so far. I think we're getting ready to see some more guys going down pit road. I mean, at Darlington, you want a fresh set of tires, and we're getting that point to where these guys have almost run a whole stage on these tires.
And I think that's the key. I think you run the whole stage. I want my guy to stay out at least, you know, until he has run 40 laps on his tires, you know, because that's where we're comfortable. That's what we know. And then anything after that's a bonus, because that's going to put us, you know, into the green, because, you know, from there we can actually start to make calculations. The track temp's about the same. You know, we know about how hard we'll have to force it. But if you know you got to force it longer, I think you stay out longer right now, and you don't actually come in the pit.
Yeah, some guys even try to go a little bit longer than longer, you know, just try to overcut it and have the newer tires later so you can push it a little harder towards the end. But, of course, track position is going to be important. I think that's why Heitman made that decision, because he wants to, when everybody else pits, he wants to surge to the front. Ooh, DeCiani, a little bit touch on the wall.
Sousa into the wall. Sousa definitely locking it not down, having a hard time there just at the start-finish line. Not sure what exactly took place on that, but it ain't going to buff out.
Yeah, we see it right here. I think it was in the middle of 1 and 2 he had an issue.
It's coming up.
Right there, he hits the wall, slows him down quite a bit. And that allows Heitman, of course, who's on the fresher tires, to come up on him. And I think you're right, something else must happen here. Let's see what happens. You said it was on the start-finish line. Just gets loose. Oh, into the inside wall. Yep, that's exactly what happened. No caution on that one, though.
Yeah, green flag pit stops, though, well under the way as the 54 is down. Randy Mullins. Also, the 29 down pit road. That's going to be Mr. Sanchez.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez now coming out of his box. Of course, Randy Mullins doing the same thing as well. No penalties so far. This is a track where you can easily get a speeding penalty. Hard to get that car slowed down at this track. As you know, even on the straightaways, big. I mean, a lot of people don't think this is a very fast track, but on the straightaways, you get upwards of 180 mile an hour.
Yeah, Jeffrey Sousa down, Matt DeCiani down, the 25 of Greg
Carr.
Yep, Greg Carr is down. The car of Greg Carr is down.
And this is about when I suspected these guys would pit. I mean, I think 140 splits it pretty evenly. Brian Johnson is going to inherit the lead, of course. I do believe Josh Schaffner is also bringing it down.
Yep, and he is followed by Don Avery, close suit, and Schaffner doing exactly what he said he was going to do. He's going to split it almost in half. But I think if you can go longer now, I think you're actually paying yourself dividends in the long run. I think right now that he who continues to run is going to do the best. 77 Ryan Strunk down on pit road as well. So green flag pit stop 75% done. Right now we're only showing 6 cars that have not yet pit.
Here comes Skinny Powell. Going to be bringing it down pit road. And you see at Darlington, you have to start the pitting process when you're entering turn 3, essentially. You can't, like, this ain't a tractor where you just in the middle of 4 drop down to pit road. This is a place you have to start that pit process early. Otherwise, you're going to miss pit road altogether.
Yep, only 4 cars remaining that have not yet pit. Brian Johnson, Greg Wachinski, Matthew McMeekin, and Wes Dobbs. McMeekin, sorry.
Brian Johnson is your leader right now, and only 5 cars still remain on the lead lap. Derek Heitman has gotten his lap back, so he will be in the lead.
Yep, the 41 of Matthew McMeekin and Wes Dobbs down pit road now.
And, of course, pit road makes or break you. You know, we always talk about that. You pit for show, or you race for show, you pit for dough. Well, I think, you know, Matt DeCiani definitely pit for dough, just considering he was able to, you know, get a good gap there on Josh Schaffner.
Brian Johnson, pit road. Now, that's only going to show one driver. That's Greg Wachinski. He is now being shown as your leader. And Wachinski yet to pit.
Probably hoping for a caution or something.
Oh, no cautions here tonight, boss.
Well, I'm saying I think he's hoping for one. That would be the only reason I'd stay out this long.
I think he's doing the right thing. I think you stay out there as long as you can because you'll be able to make that up here because you'll be able to run harder, longer. I mean, right now there's 38 laps.
Yellow flag is out.
Woo! That is going to definitely play out in his favor as the 88 of Keselowski finds himself in a bind. Looks like he is tangled up with the 14 of Jeffrey Souza.
Take a look back and see exactly what happened. This caution could not have come out at a worse time, but best time, though, for Greg Wachinski, I'd say.
I think.
He's going to have the freshest tires in the field once he comes down pit road. Let's see exactly what happened here to Alfonso, what am I talking about?
Alfonso.
Al Keselowski. Alexander, that's right. It's Alexander. He's going to get mad at us for that. I mean, all the things we say about him, he's going to get mad at us.
That's his name. I mean, I'm not disrespecting the man.
Well, wonder what happened here, though, to Al. Still haven't quite got to it as he gets, this is where it happens, into the wall in turn 4, slides right around, and Jeffrey Souza would just know where to go.
Yeah, but, you know, the fortunate thing, nobody getting that dreaded meatball repairs needed flag. Everybody driving off under their own power. We're doubling this thing up now. Greg Wachinski is going to get the opportunity to actually come down here and actually pit under caution.
Al Keselowski actually took a tow there.
Well, you know, he can you blame him? I mean,
no, I mean, can't really. But definitely excited to see what this is going to look like. How about we take a quick step away? We'll be right back with the pretty much the conclusion of this race. Not much left to go. We'll be right back.
Speed training. It's how Advanced Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster. Not bad. The parts you need, even faster. Advance Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We had a couple guys stay out here, I do believe. Matt DeCiani, Josh Schaffner, and Don Avery. Everybody else has gone down pit road, I do believe, to take a new set of tires. Of course, we're now 149 laps into this race, and not much longer here to go, but just enough that it's going to definitely be still a tire-saving match here. Not really a shootout, per se, but it looks like pace car lights are soon to go out. We'll be doubling them back up once again. Taking a look at the stints on the tires here. Matt DeCiani has 8 laps on his tires. Josh Schaffner 7. Don Avery 7. Brian Johnson, I do believe, has 4 laps on his tires, so he also did stay out. Derek Heitman, I do believe, took a trip down pit road. So everybody, I do believe, on back had from Derek Heitman on back is on fresher tires right now, except for Jeffrey Souza, who's in 10th with 10 laps on his equipment. Of course, he was just involved in that accident and has just elected to stay out. And here we go. Green flag's getting ready to wave once again here as the pace car has went down pit road. Matt DeCiani not wasting any time at all. Gasses it up. Don Avery able to take advantage and hopefully be able to take over second here. Still side by side. Looks like Schaffner up on the top of the track now. Going to go side by side with Derek Heitman. Derek Heitman going to be moving his way up into third. DeCiani under a lot of pressure from Avery right now. As we're now 150 laps into this thing, which means we have just 33 to go next time by. And still unknown who is going to be able to bring this thing home and bring it into victory lane. What a track to win at, too. I mean, this is one that you get major bragging rights if you're able to win at Darlington. This is not one that you luck into. No one has ever lucked into a race win at Darlington, I'll tell you that. For the most part, everything seems to have went well, smoothly on that restart. That was only one caution that we've had here tonight based on an accident. Ooh, Josh Schaffner with a little bit of a blinking issue here. Is Brian Johnson trying to hold off Randy Mullins, the 54 right there behind him, trying to see if he can't get up there and take 5th away. Of course, Mullins has been a top 5 driver all night long. Brian Johnson, though, always one that you have to watch out for him, especially at Darlington. Very good at this racetrack. Greg Wachinski has had a really good late race surge. Of course, he was able to catch that green flag, that yellow flag at just the right time, able to leave some laps. He's sitting in 7th right now. Mullins starting to really pressure Brian Johnson. Johnson with a little bit of a blinking issue. This is not the track to have a blinking issue, I'll tell you that. Taking a look back at Jeffrey Souza. Looks like he's sitting in 13th place. Of course, he probably has some damage on that race machine, but glad to see him still able to roll around the track. As Matt DeCiani trying to come in here and steal one from everybody as he got that track position. Of course, he's on a little bit older tires, but it looks like it is not hurting him in the slightest right now. I'd say just because of those guys not pitting, their tires are probably at optimal operating temperature right now. As here comes Josh Schaffner trying to work back on Derek Heitman. Side by side right behind him, Randy Mullins and Brian Johnson. The fight is on. A lot of wiggling going on. Mark Sanchez doing a fantastic job, sitting in 8th right now. Right behind this whole pack of cars with Greg Wachinski right in front of him. Of course, Kenny Powell has fought his way up to 9th place. Tell you what, this top 10 has just been changing and flowing and just evolving as this race has gone on. Hard to predict where anyone's going to finish in this event.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why.
Go ahead.
That's the reason why we have to race every lap. Matt DeCiani, though, doing exactly what you said, taking advantage of a situation as Sanchez gets real low, almost 3 wide going into the turn.
They were 3 wide for a second there, Big Al, but I think
Yeah.
Ryan Strunk thought better of it. Oh, contact with
And
Greg
that
Carr.
goes sideways. Strunk goes sideways there. That's going to definitely maybe not bring out the caution, but he is definitely still not underway. How no caution, I'm not sure. If I was him, I'd park it sideways right in the middle of the track.
Don't tell him that. He might be listening.
Man, unfortunate for him. That's the second time I think that he has kind of gone out like that. But very risque racing there, almost 3 wide. So, sometimes bad things are going to happen when you do things like that. But hey, green flag racing continues.
That it does. Don Avery has worked his way now up into the second place position. Of course, he is still trying to work his way up there to Matt DeCiani. DeCiani with about 3/10 of a lead here. But Derek Heitman's on a little bit fresher tires than these guys, so I'm surprised that he's not able to work his way up further closer. But Randy Mullins now up into 4th. Look at that.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be feeling pretty good about the hot rod that he bought to the racetrack tonight.
Very much so. I mean, that car has been handling very well, and I think that the way that caution kind of fell, that 30-lap run, that's where Randy Mullins seemed to excel. So I feel like this might fit right into his strategy here tonight.
But it's got us all kind of discombobulated right now. So this racetrack has got to figure out a way to right itself. As Derek Heitman now is being challenged by the 54 Randy Mullins. That's going on right now. Josh Schaffner finds himself in 5th place, trying to navigate around as well. So, Brian, I think we got a lot of pants legs to shake out here before we find the rattlesnake in this bunch.
Yeah, I think it's definitely somebody's about to get bit right now as Randy Mullins and Derek Heitman having some contact between the two. More contact as they are beating and banging, and that has allowed Josh Schaffner and company to catch up to the rear end of them. This could definitely complicate this situation here as we have 22 laps to go next time by. Still side by side, and you do not want to be side by side in 1 and 2, as you could clearly see Randy Mullins lifting out of it because he did not want to wreck Derek Heitman.
Oh, no. And here comes Brian Johnson on the inside of Schaffner. That's going to cause a huge checkup. There's Wachinski now coming right up back on the back, and Powell almost making contact, just a little bit too close for comfort there. And this battling right here, Brian, that's going on, this is going to be for what we would consider 6th through 9th place.
Yeah, got to keep in mind, though, Josh Schaffner is on a little bit older tires at the moment. I think that might be what could be starting to show its kind of ugly face right now as Greg Wachinski looking for any way to get around his G&G teammate. Kenny Powell, of course, waiting patiently, as patient as you can at Darlington. Matt DeCiani, though, is under clear and present fire as Don Avery is right there on his rear end. Avery, of course, has been just having fantastic run after fantastic run. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's the points leader at the moment. So wouldn't be surprised to see him possibly try to maintain that points lead and maybe even try to get another win here.
Hey, you know what? And who didn't see it coming? I mean, this guy's been laying right there in plain sight all season, just slowly slaying the dragon. And now he is on Matt DeCiani's rear bumper, trying to make his way up front, and that would, if he could get this done, that would make him the winningest driver in this season so far with 20 laps to go, Brian.
Yeah, of course, Josh Schaffner right now is the winningest driver, but yeah, would make him tied with him for sure, and that definitely would send a message throughout the whole, I'd say, locker room, if you will, that Don Avery's here. And he's he means business. Of course, Sherry probably cheering him on from the sidelines there as we're now sub 20 laps to go. And Avery doesn't seem like he's going anywhere, that's for sure. Surprised Derek Heitman's not showing more pace right now. I wonder if maybe they made an adjustment to that race car. We did see him earlier, had a, definitely a leading kind of machine. But maybe the dirty air, like he said, that was the thing he was afraid of. Maybe that's what he's dealing with right now, as he is still has the 54 not too far back in that rearview mirror. course, Greg Wachinski has made it up into that 6th place position. That 5 car looking really good here tonight, looking to get some points. I do believe he missed last week's race, so definitely going to need to get as many points as he can. But Schaffner coming back to life. Ooh, Mark Sanchez getting incredibly loose back there in that 7th place, or I should say 8th place position.
Have you ever done that?
Done what? Got loose here?
Got loose right there like that? Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. So, I mean, every time I see a driver, kind of get loose like that, I'm like, I get a little bit of PTSD right there. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100% is because of that. That actually put Mark Sanchez a little bit more under fire here now as Kenny Powell tries to work his way forward. Of course, Greg Carr sitting right there as well. And what a recovery from Matthew McMeekin has been doing. Didn't look very impressive at the start of this race. I'll tell you that. He did not look impressive, but he is starting to impress now as he sits in that 11th place. And Matthew McMeekin, from what I remember him when he used to be in the ISCA before, was always a very fast driver. So I'm glad to see him pick up where he left off.
You know what? I'm surprised, though, that it's not a little bit closer. We had that late race caution, and that kind of brought everything in, but I'm surprised that now it's still kind of spread out with 15 laps to go. This is a go time for all of those drivers, though, that got anything left. If you want to advance your position, this is the time to do so.
100%. I think that's exactly what's going through the mind of Derek Heitman right now. He is. I was talking about. I'm surprised he's not quicker. I think he was just waiting on the tire temp to get up because now he's right there on the back of Don Avery, and I think he's hit the switch. That he's flipped that light switch on. It's time to go.
He's also got 5 laps fresher tires than Avery as well, so that is going to make a difference. You gotta account that as a difference.
100%. And it looks like Avery gets a little bit loose off of turn 2, and that's going to give Derek Heitman the preferred line up on the top, and he's going to be able to take over that 2nd place position. Now, of course, Matt DeCiani and Derek Heitman are on the same team. Does Derek Heitman cut him brakes, or is he going for a win?
Yeah, did Avery get loose, though, or did he just kind of relinquish the position?
Could be. Yeah, you're right. I mean, he could have very much just let it go. But look at Brian Johnson. He's starting to turn the heat up as he enters the top 3.
Yeah, Randy Mullins just deciding that he was also going to kind of relinquish the position a little bit there and just kind of let Johnson go without a whole lot of pushback.
You got to think these guys
on the wall.
You got to think these guys have been out here for 170 plus laps now, Big Al.
Oh yeah, I bet.
They got to be wore out.
Yeah, I mean, and especially depending on what kind of equipment you're running, because if you're not running a direct drive wheel, you're probably having a totally different experience than somebody that is, because it's quite no comparison. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying about the fatigue factor.
Yeah, fatigue, and not even just fatigue with your physical fatigue. I'd say mental fatigue has got to be setting in as Randy Mullins gets incredibly loose.
Yeah, but Derek Heitman, though, is dialing up Matt DeCiani.
He definitely is. He's right there on the back of the one. Of course, like you mentioned before, they are different tires, I'd say. I mean, I do believe DeCiani would 6 laps older tires, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to wait and see if Heitman can get around him. I mean, it's so tricky to pass, even with that tire difference.
Heitman taking a very high line, too, coming off of turns 3 there with 10 laps to go. Definitely something to watch. He goes into 3 really kind of high in 4.
And he talked about it before, though, Big Al. I mean, he said it when you're right behind someone like that, the car tightens up a little bit, and that might be what we're seeing there. As here he comes. He's right there on the back of the one, but he's going to definitely have to make sure that he lines them up correctly, slows down a little bit on the entry and middle of 3 and 4. It looks like he's going to try to see if he can't translate that to exit speed. Did not work out for him that time around. As look at Brian Johnson. I mean, the top 4 all right here on top of each other. Still anybody's game here, especially once Derek Heitman starts to try to pass DeCiani. Now, this could cause some issues. Heitman getting a little bit loose off the corner there. If these guys start battling, it is anybody's race, Big Al.
Absolutely.
I think anybody in this top 4 could end up getting that victory, as they are even coming up on some lap traffic. Ryan Strunk in the picture now.
Yeah, but these guys are definitely battling amongst themselves. As right now, looks like Don Avery has Brian Johnson all over his rear view.
That he does.
Heitman is just and then Johnson punts Avery. Definitely got him loose. That wasn't nice.
I mean, that's one thing, about a track like Darlington. When you get fed up, sometimes you just got to move them. And I think that's what Brian Johnson maybe had in mind there. As Don Avery not done yet, though.
Yeah, I don't think he did it intentionally, though. But like you said, though, you kind of get sucked up into the moment. A lot of these guys having to make the time to go now, 7 laps to go in this contest.
And what a contest it has been. Almost 250 miles completed here tonight. And Matt DeCiani is in the perfect place to be.
Yeah, he is in the leader seat.
This is where you want to be when it comes to this part of the race. This is where I'd want to be.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want Heitman behind me, though. I mean, I would just much rather have a 15-second gap.
Yeah, I know. In a perfect world, 100%. But DeCiani, I mean, I think that if I want, because DeCiani is Derek Heitman's teammate. If I was going to have anybody behind me, I'd want my teammate to be there.
Oh, yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, with 5 laps to go, you cannot understate the value of teammate or teammanship here, especially in this league. It's Don Avery way high into the wall. That's going to cost him even more spots.
Yeah, he's going to fall back to 6th as a result of that. Josh Schaffner able to sneak through, claim 5th. Randy Mullins is now up into 4th place. This could be one of Randy Mullins' best finishes for sure. 5 laps to go, though, soon to be 4.
Got to be feeling pretty good about it. Everybody that's in the top 10 has to be patting themselves on the background because that's no small accomplishment. Coming into a race like this where it's going to be so tight for so long, just like that, there goes Sanchez. He is battling side by side with Wachinski.
Wachinski into the outside wall a little bit. Greg Carr going to try to take advantage of it as well. So Carr going to move his way up into, I do believe, the 8th place position. Mark Sanchez now in 7th. Tell you what, we've seen a lot of top 10s from that 29 team recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
And love the participation we're seeing here tonight. 18 drivers. I'll tell you what, I don't think I could ask for more drivers to be here at Darlington.
Yeah, that's not bad for Darlington and a Thursday. So definitely kudos to everybody that did show up here to show out. Got to give a shout out to all of the drivers in the ISCA tonight.
Look at that. Brian Johnson has closed in on Derek Heitman, and he is putting a lot of pressure on that 76. But 2 laps to go. Next time by, the white flag will be waving. Of course, if a caution comes out then, that will end the race. But Derek Heitman, or Matt DeCiani, is in the best seat in the house right now. If he can just make it just a handful of more corners here, he will be tonight's big winner. And it looks like, he's got some breathing room. Ooh, a little contact with the outside wall from Heitman, or from DeCiani, I should say. That is not what you want to see, but side-by-side for 2nd place as Brian Johnson is duking it out with the 76.
He turned him! He turned him! You said it first.
And Heitman on the apron, no caution.
Oh, that is not going to be good. I'm sure Heitman's going to have a lot to say. I would love to dial him up right now as he puts himself on the tow truck. Brian Johnson battling. That's going to allow him to come home in P2. But Matt DeCiani saw all of that in the history of your mirror, Brian. And that's probably the best look or view you could have had on the racetrack to see that.
Oh, my goodness. I hate that for Derek Heitman after doing so well here tonight. He falls all the way back. I do believe he is now outside of the top 10.
Yeah, that was so unfortunate, man. Wow.
Unfortunate for sure. Well, looks like Matt DeCiani is going to be tonight's big winner. Brian Johnson, 2nd place. 3rd place, Josh Schaffner. 4th place, Randy Mullins. 5th place, Don Avery. 6th place, Mark Sanchez. 7th, Greg Carr. 8th, Greg Wachinski. 9th, Kenny Powell. And rounding out our top 10 is Matt Meekum. See, I messed it up too.
Jeffrey Souza in 11th, Ryan Strunk in 12th, Derek Heitman coming across in 13th, Wes Dobbs 14th, Eric Jacobson 15th, Al Koslowski 16th, Darren Mullins 17th, Andrew Layton 18th, and Christy Johnson, who didn't start, is going to round out this 19-car field as Matt DeCiani burns it down, celebrating yet another victory for him tonight in this Thursday night class, man. He has got to be feeling pretty good about it, right?
100%. Well, with that, we'll let him continue to celebrate. We'll take a step away, and we're right back with our post-race show.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to...
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tough, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Speed training. It's how Advanced Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster. Not bad. The parts you need even faster. Advanced Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have our third place finisher joining us up here in the booth, Josh Schaffner. What a fantastic showing you put on here tonight. Of course, you won stage number 2. You led 56 laps out of the night's competition. I mean, I bet you wore out. How you feeling?
Yeah, that was a long race. I thought last week was a long race, but yeah, this was a long race, and Darlington probably it takes every ounce of focus you got to run a clean race here for 183 laps and keep it out of the wall. And a couple of small little scrapes, but overall, pretty happy to come home with a pretty clean car.
100%. I mean, and what kind of caused you to lose those positions like you did at the start of stage number 3?
Yeah, Derek and Matt fired off at the green flag of stage 3 a little harder than they did of stage 2, and so it was kind of a little bit of a cat and mouse game. Derek he took a different pitch strategy than Matt and Don and myself, and it would have been interesting to see how that played out. It's hard to say; it's all hypothetical now, but and then it was kind of the for a few of us like Matt and Don and myself, it was kind of the question of, we had, maybe 3 laps on our tires. Do we burn up that last set or not? If you kind of burn them up, you make your bed. And, Derek took tires there, I think. I'd have to double check on that, but I think he did. And, yeah, hindsight 2020, maybe we should have. But, yeah, I had to kind of fall back there and save my stuff. And then I kind of fell into a podium here at, with the incident there in the last lap, and then felt bad for Randy, got loose off of 4, so I kind of picked off 2 coming to the white and was able to get a podium, which was great.
Yeah, definitely going to be a good day for points, and unfortunately benefiting from other people's miseries, but still going to be a great points day for you. I mean, you've already got 2 wins on the season, now another podium added onto that. I mean, looking pretty good. I mean, how you feeling about Legacy Atlanta coming up next week? Of course, not going to be the new Atlanta this flat out. This is going to be the old style with the bumps.
Yeah, a fun track, and obviously, we'll be slipping and sliding around there like we have the last couple weeks at Rockingham and Darlington, and going to be a little bit challenging. I'm going to be on the road all week for work, so my first laps will be when I jump in practice Thursday night, so I won't be racing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so it'll be a little bit of a green race, but I'll lean on my teammates for a little bit of advice and kind of use stage 1 as my practice and stage 2, and hopefully we can, find our way and have a good run there in stage 3 and come home with a decent finish.
That's definitely the key to it, being consistent, and definitely you were consistent today. Got some really good stage points and everything, but great job to you. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish. Who can we give a shout out to before we let you get it out of here?
Yeah, I definitely want to thank the family, the wife and daughter, for giving me the time to come down here. I want to thank the ISCA, you guys up in the booth. Yeah, everybody at G&G, shout out TWRS for another great set this week. And yeah, Pioneer, Smith Farms, and yeah, all of our great drivers. Great to have a little bigger field out here tonight. Great to see some new faces back again, or some old faces back again, I guess. And yeah, just want to thank everybody along the way and look forward to seeing everybody next week. Or actually on Saturday, I think I'm going to run then too. So I'll see everybody then too.
All right. Well, we definitely look forward to that for sure, Josh. And thanks for your time.
Appreciate it.
All right, that was Josh Schaffner, our third place finisher. Next up, Big Al is standing by with Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson, welcome back, first off. And it's been a while since we've seen you back out here amongst us. So you got to feel pretty good about coming back and actually putting that thing on the podium and in second place, right?
Yeah, man, it's been a while. First off, I want to apologize to Derek. Just watched the replay, and that was my fault. I left hooked him there going down the straightaway. Just try to run him too tight, try to side draft him. They're coming to the white flag. So that was on me. I'll take ownership. So just want to get that out of the way.
Well, I wasn't going to lead with that, but thank you for acknowledging it. So yeah, but it was a racing incident. So, but still, man, you had a hot rod here coming in. I mean, you started in fourth. You actually brought it home in second. How many laps did you put down here coming into this contest?
Not a whole lot. I actually used a setup I built last season. So tested it out today. It worked pretty good. Tire wear was good. So I said, what the heck? And just sent it.
So what was your greatest challenge here tonight? Was it just dodging traffic? Was it dirty air? Was it tire wear? What were you battling the most?
Tire wear for sure. Tire wear in the wall. Just focused on not burning up the right front. First stage there, burnt up the right front pretty bad. Racing too early, but the last two stages I was able to lay back. Yeah, gave up some spots, but I was able to get them there at the end. But Derek, Josh, Matt, those guys, they definitely had the cars to beat today. But definitely had a top five, so it was fun. Good clean racing up until the end. You know, dumb move on my part. So I raced better than that. I raced cleaner than that. So I should have known better. So that was all on me.
Well, hey, man, we appreciate you for actually stepping up and owning that. I'm sure Derek will appreciate that. He's a stand-up guy as well. Next week, we're heading into Atlanta. Going to race a little bit different than this track, definitely. You're going to have time. We're going to see you again, first off. And what are you actually what are you hoping to get out of that?
Yeah, man, planning on it. It's definitely one of my favorite tracks, the old school Atlanta. Abrasive surface, so it should be a fun ride, you know, with the tire wear. So yeah, definitely gonna put in some practice next week, and it's a home track for me, so we'll see what we can do.
With you know, there's a lot of, since you've been gone, there's a lot of new teams that develop. Some are family teams. We've got, you know, the father-son duo of the Mullins. We've got some Acosta brothers going on there, and you and your brother Chris. So are you guys excited about that? And is that something that maybe brought you guys back in here to try to compete for?
Yeah, man, love to see it. Randy, you know, I was racing with him pretty much all night. You know, we were beating and banging, swapping positions, so had fun racing with him. So yeah, I love seeing the new teams, the new faces, new family members. So yeah, it's a good time. We need some more folks. If you're interested in ISCA, reach out to Kenny Powell.
Yeah, absolutely. So hey, with that, we got your second place in the books. Who you going to shout out here before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to Southern Spiral Pipe, G&G Racing. You guys up in the booth, you guys do a great job every week. And of course, shout out to Derek. My apologies, man.
Hey, all right. Thank you, sir. Can't wait to see you next week.
All right, man. See you.
Alrighty, that was Brian Johnson, our second place finisher here tonight. Led 3 laps on the night, started fourth, so definitely pretty good mover for sure. Gonna get some good points here tonight. Hopefully we see more and more of Brian Johnson and Chris Johnson. Next up, we're going to be talking to our first place finisher here in the Advanced Auto Parts 250. Matt DeCiani. I mean, 44 laps led here tonight. I mean, that caution probably couldn't have came out at a better time, and you were even on older tires and held off your teammate. How you feeling?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Yeah, that caution didn't help
me or Derek per se. We kind of had a plan of what we wanted to do there, and I think it was going to work well for both of us. It just, yeah, changed everything. But yeah, I only had 5 laps on my tires with, well, I don't know, we had 40 something to go. There, I couldn't risk putting tires on in case we got another yellow.
Yeah, it definitely makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, and those 5 laps on those tires didn't seem like they made too much of a difference. I mean, it seemed like you were able to still maintain that position and keep everybody behind you. I mean, it seemed like you guys had a really good car this week. I mean, how many laps did you turn in preparation for this race?
Yeah, we've been EPI as a whole this week has actually been really fast. It's nice to see. I ran a lot of the SOFs and it's competitive in all the ones I ran. We've just been really solid as a whole group this week.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it for sure. I know Derek Heitman, was very successful as well here tonight. But getting yourself a win definitely going to help you out quite substantially in the points. What were some of the challenges of this track? Do you look forward to Darlington? I think we probably already answered this last week.
Yeah, Darlington's a fun track. I love technical tracks where it's not just your standard cookie cutter mile and a half, get back to the throttle, a lot of brake. I like tracks that you need brake, throttle control, tire management. I mean, Darlington has it all. It's definitely a challenging track. I mean, the most difficult thing tonight was just pace. I mean, you could honestly kill your tires in a lap if you really screwed yourself driving through it and pushing. So it was just all about managing pace the whole run. And with the way the stages and cautions fell, it's like, all right, we kind of gotta push the needle back and forth like constantly throughout the race.
Well, you definitely did exactly that. It seemed like you knew exactly what you were doing, had a good car to do it too. So, I mean, definitely glad to see how well you did your success out here tonight and grabbing a win. Definitely a lot of those, not a lot of those to get here in ISCA. It's so hard to grab wins in this series. So I know you've gotten several of them before. I mean, does this one mean more to you than any other, or just kind of just another one to add to the ticker?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've actually won. Actually, to be honest, I think this is only my second oval win in the ISC. I've won
Is
a
that
few road
right? I mean, I
courses.
thought you had won more
Yeah,
than that.
I've won a handful of road course races, but I mean, I think this is only my second oval win. So yeah, it means a lot. And honestly, I didn't think I had a shot to hold off Derek. I mean, he had new tires. He's kicked my butt all week. He's just had really bad luck. And fortunately, he got taken out there because we were probably gonna have an EPI 1-2. But things happen. But yeah, he definitely had the best car tonight.
Well, definitely. It was still no slacking on your part, but unfortunately, like you said, Derek Heitman losing a lot of positions there. Didn't get probably the finish he probably feels he deserves. But man, you definitely got one that I think you deserved, and congratulations on the win. Legacy Atlanta coming up next week. Similar, I wouldn't say similar to this track, but you said cookie cutter. That's definitely not a cookie cutter mile and a half right there.
No, definitely not. I agree. Yeah, hopefully, I don't know. So we haven't been to Legacy Atlanta with this since the update. So I'm hoping it's not like Legacy Kentucky where it's a one groove track. I really hope we can run multiple lines because I think it'll make for a fantastic race.
Well, we'll definitely have to hope and see that. I know it's going to be bumpy. That's about all I know. But definitely great job to you, man. After this big win here, who can we give a shout out to, Matt?
Yeah, thanks to you guys for calling the race. Thanks for Kenny for putting out the league. Shout out to Brian and Josh on their top threes. Yeah, shout out again to Derek. Like I said, best car tonight. And yeah, as always, EPI is Michael Conti's giving us a rocket ship this week. So thanks to those guys.
All right. Well, Matt, we appreciate your time tonight, and hopefully we'll see you here shortly.
Thanks, guys.
All righty. That was Matt DeCiani, tonight's big winner, and what a race it was for him. I mean, man, you don't luck into wins at Darlington, even though he might feel like he did. You don't luck into those wins at Darlington, when you say, Big Al?
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. Anything that you get at Darlington is because you earned it. And what a contest tonight. What a competition. These guys came out and they gave a lot, man. Only one caution outside of the schedule, too. I don't think we could have asked for anything other than that.
100%. I mean, definitely a very clean race. You don't see that very often at a track like Darlington, but can't wait to see these guys come back here on Saturday with a whole new cast of characters, some familiar faces as well. But I do believe with that, we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. Definitely thank you to you, Big Al, for doing all that you do and calling the race with me here tonight. definitely loved every bit of it, and we appreciate again Kenny Powell and all those guys that make this thing possible and keep it entertaining. And hopefully we'll see you next time. If you want to join the ISCA, definitely hit up Kenny Powell for sure. Maybe message their the iRacing Stock Car Association Facebook. Definitely a good route to take for sure. But thanks for everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.